Have you ever walked into a room, maybe a family gathering, an old friends reunion, a community meeting, or even just stepping into a familiar coffee shop, and felt the subtle shifts before you'd even said hello? Heads turn for a split second, eyes meet yours, then drift away or linger. A quick scan happens across faces, almost invisible, but you feel it. Your posture straightens instinctively, your voice readies itself, and in those first fleeting moments, something has already been decided about you. You haven't opened your mouth yet. You haven't shared a single thought. But the ranking has begun. Before you finish your first sentence, they've already placed you somewhere on their invisible map of who matters here. If you've lived long enough to notice these quiet evaluations happening again and again, you know the truth. People decide your worth in about 10 seconds, and most of them never bother to revise the verdict. This isn't modern superficiality or shallow judgment, it's ancient wiring. For the vast majority of human history, a stranger approaching your group could mean safety or sudden danger. Your brain evolved a lightning-fast system to answer. One question above all: is this person a threat, an ally, or irrelevant? Snap judgments aren't lazy, they're survival. Today, that same machinery hums in every new encounter, forming impressions of competence, trustworthiness, warmth, and status in milliseconds. Research has shown time and again that people make remarkably consistent calls on these qualities within seconds of meeting someone, and those early flashes tend to stick like glue. The rest of the conversation often just confirms what the brain already decided in the opening beat. In those first 10 seconds, 4 primary signals dominate the assessment. First is posture. An upright, open stance that occupies space comfortably reads as calm authority. A collapsed frame, shoulders rounded, body minimized, quietly announces uncertainty or deference. Next comes eye contact. Steady, calm gaze without staring feels grounded and present. Eyes that dart, seek approval, or drop too quickly signal anxiety or submission. Then voice tone registers almost immediately. Measured, low, unhurried speech conveys control, while rushed, high-pitched or overly animated delivery suggests reactivity. Finally, energy pace seals the impression. Slow, deliberate movements and speech project quiet power, while hurried gestures and quick words imply a need to prove something. Power, at this primal level, is read through visible control, not through what you say, but how you carry the silence before you speak. There's also a silent dominance test playing out in those opening moments, a series of micro-concessions that quietly establish hierarchy. Who breaks eye contact first? Who speaks into the pause first? Who laughs to smooth tension rather than letting it sit? Who fills the quiet with chatter? Each small yield hands over leverage without a word being exchanged. The person who holds steady, who lets the silence linger, who keeps their gaze level, who doesn't rush to ease discomfort, emerges higher in the unspoken order. These aren't conscious games most of the time, they're instinctive dances humans have performed for millennia in every tribe, village and boardroom. Another layer people read instantly is scarcity. Do you seem busy, selective, emotionally self-contained? Or do you appear overly available, eager, waiting for inclusion? Perceived demand dramatically increases perceived value. Someone who carries the subtle aura of having other places to be, other people who value their time, other priorities that command attention, feels inherently more significant. In contrast, the person who seems to have endless bandwidth, who jumps at every opening, who broadcasts emotional availability too freely, starts to feel ordinary, replaceable. After decades of life, you've probably seen this principle at work in friendships that faded when one person became too constantly present, or in professional circles where the quietly selective colleague mysteriously carried more weight than the always helpful one. Emotional stability stands out as one of the strongest signals of worth. A calm face under slight pressure, no twitching, no overreactions, no nervous fidgeting, reads as leadership material. Neuroscience shows that the ability to regulate emotion signals safety to others. A steady nervous system implies someone who can be relied upon when things get difficult. The person who stays composed when a joke falls flat, when conversation lags, or when a minor challenge arises, projects quiet strength. Overreactions, visible anxiety, or quick defensiveness, even if minor, quietly downgrade perceived rank because they hint at inner fragility. In later years, when you've weathered real storms, this composure should be one of your greatest assets. Yet small habits of fidgeting or over-explaining can still undercut it if left unchecked. clothing, grooming, and overall presentation act as instant context cues. Clean lines and thoughtful simplicity signal discipline and self-respect. Overly flashy or mismatched elements can unintentionally broadcast insecurity, as if compensating for something internal. The goal isn't expensive labels, it's coherence and intentionality. A well-fitted shirt, neat hair, shoes that aren't scuffed, these small choices tell a story of someone who values themselves enough to prepare. Visual hierarchy matters enormously in those first seconds, often more than words ever will. The power of pauses cannot be overstated. Strategic silence, a delayed but deliberate response, controlled breathing that keeps movements slow. These all elevate perceived rank. Slower, everything equals higher status in the brain's ancient calculator. The person who doesn't rush to speak, doesn't jump to fill every gap, doesn't laugh preemptively to soften tension, commands the room without effort. They create space that others instinctively want to enter. Rushing, on the other hand, shrinks that space and diminishes presence. What lowers your perceived worth fastest in those opening moments? Over-smiling that feels forced? Over-talking that fills air without substance? Over-explaining that turns simple statements into apologies? Over-apologizing for simply existing in the space? Excess of any kind signals neediness, and neediness repels. The more you try to prove your worth right away, the more you quietly confirm you doubt it yourself. The reversal strategy is straightforward and powerful. Command those first 10 seconds intentionally. Enter a room slower than feels natural. Let your steps carry deliberate weight. Speak later rather than sooner. Let others lean in first. Hold eye contact steady but warm, not challenging. Keep your tone grounded, lower register, unhurried. Let them come toward you. When you project calm certainty from the outset, the room adjusts to you rather than the other way around. Worth isn't begged for. It's projected before a single story is told. Here's the reality check that should light a quiet fire under all of us. First impressions are extraordinarily sticky. Most people never update them in any meaningful way. They form a quick mental file on you, and everything that follows either confirms it or gets filtered through that original lens. That stickiness raises the urgency. Those 10 seconds aren't casual. They're often decisive for how you're treated in that circle for months or years to come. And the final truth that cuts through everything: in 10 seconds, you're not judged by your story. You're judged by your signals. The posture you carry, the gaze you hold, the pace you set, the calm you embody. These are the silent ambassadors of your worth long before your experience, your wisdom, or your kindness ever get a chance to speak. You've accumulated decades of real substance. Now make sure the first impression honors it instead of undermining it. Walk in slower next time. Hold the pause a beat longer. Let your presence arrive before your words do, because the room is already deciding, and with quiet intention, you can decide right back.